So today what I wanted to show you was my art setup and all the things that I've basically been collecting since I was around 8 years old. Some of this stuff I've had for absolute years. There's chests of drawers just stacked up on top of each other. Then there's some up there. So this is my drawer for all my different kinds of papers. So depending on what I want to do, what kind of, if it's going to be a portrait, an animal drawing. So yeah, this is like my collection of different papers, and then there's some card canvas. So these are all my papers, and in here I've got all my watercolours. So I just have a little box like this, so it's messy. These I love. They're watercolour pencils, so they look like normal pencils, and if I can open it, so this is what they look like, and you basically just do a drawing with them just as if they were normal pencils, but then if you put water over them, they'll turn to watercolour. Now that can be kind of tricky because if you mess up the drawing, it's history. But these, for certain effects, they're amazing. What I have is my bits and bobs drawer, and it really is just bits and bobs. The main thing I have in here are inks, so things like this. I have a few enamels which I really need to give a shake. A few things for, I think it's called quilling. I can't remember how you pronounce that, but I haven't done any of this stuff in years. Basically make kind of drawings out of little strips of paper and you glue it onto card, and it sounds boring but it's not. There's some amazing things you can do with this stuff. Like these pastels. These are one of my favourites, especially for doing portraits. So I'll show you all the different things I have. So these ones, these are my favourite ones, and the reasons I like these, they're not as big as my other pastels, but the reason I prefer these is that they're a lot more pigmented. So you need a lot less than the other pack I have, and I tend to use these mainly on faces where I really want to get colour. For darker skin tones, these are fantastic because they have some absolutely fantastic shades. Meanwhile, the other one, it's not very good for darker skin tones, and even for like really pale skin tones, they don't have the kind of colours that I need. Charcoal, which I love to work with, but it's just so messy, so there's only really certain times I can work with that. So next up is my acrylics drawer. So these are all my acrylics, and I use these a lot, especially when I'm doing statue restorations, because a lot of people give me old statues, particularly from like churches, and that's just been absolutely destroyed, and because they're indoors I use acrylics on them. And these are my tools, coals and pencils. Open it. So here I have a collection of rubbers. I have sandpaper if I want to get a very particular kind of point to the end of a pencil. Some putty rubbers, an unused putty rubber, charcoal sticks, more charcoal sticks. I think this one is graphite pencils. I'm not sure. Let's see. Ah, charcoal. And I think I took the blending pencil out of there to put in with my favourites. And these are my oil paint drawer. So as you can see, a lot of mess in here. I have a massive tub of white oil paint. The only thing I hate about oil paints is when this happens at the bottom. It just gets so sticky and messy, and I like oil paints. The thing that drives me nuts with them is the fact that I tend to get reactions to a few of them. So I'll be painting an oil paint, and then I'll look in the mirror and my face will have completely puffed up because there's something in the oil paints that gives me a reaction. And also just how flipping long it takes to dry, so unless I really have time on my hands, I don't really do that many oil paintings. And then up here I've got my absolute favourite piece of work. These are all my Chinese paintbrushes. My favourite medium to work in is with old Chinese paintbrushes, old Chinese inks. That's one of my favourite mediums to work with apart from watercolour, because I just love how it looks. So I'm going to show you, this is a little set that I've got. So these are ink sticks, and what you do with these is, in this set, which is the main one, you have these mixing tablets, and what you do is you put in a little bit of water, and then you take these sticks and you rub it into the water, and depending how long you rub it into the water, the thicker or the thinner the ink will be. So these are the colours I have for the moment, and it took me years to find these because it's quite unusual to find stuff like this in the UK, and I ended up finding this in a small art shop in Uxbridge. I saw it and I was like, I have to get this because I'd been looking for this for years, and the only other place I'd seen them in was Hobbycraft, and they were selling it for £25, which was quite expensive. And then I bought this for I think £5, so pretty good. This is just a paperweight for if you're working on rice paper, and here's the biggest black inkstone I have. So I've used this a lot, and as you can see, actually no, this isn't the one I used. Where's the other one I used? This one I didn't want to use it too much because I just like the design on it, so I didn't really want to use it. So these are all my paintbrushes. A lot of them have got interchangeable heads. So those are my brushes. I think I have the other inkstone in here. No, I don't. Ugh, I'll probably put that somewhere else. But anyway, these are all my brushes. So I have loads of different size brushes, and they'll all do different effects. Like some are quite pointy on the end, others are quite fluffy. So depending on what I need, I've got all these different brushes. And then this one was a seal stone. So what you do is you get this. Hang on. There. You take this, which has gone really off and nasty now, but I just use something else. Is you carve into the end. Actually, I have an old stone like that. So this is soapstone, and it's a really soft stone. So I've carved my name or my signature into it. The only thing is, when I carved it in, I forgot that I need to reverse it so that it comes out the right way. And because I've carved it the wrong way, this basically gets printed on paper flipped. So I need to sand this down and do it over again. And that's what I like about soapstone, is it's kind of a problem as well because it's so easy to dent or damage. So if you drop this, a piece will chip off really quickly because it's really soft. It's really soft stone, so you have to be quite careful with it. But the other plus is that it's quite easy to carve into it. So I need to sand this down and start all over again. Of paintbrushes. I tend to use these ones mainly for acrylics. I have a few for oil painting, but because I don't do oil paintings that much, I only have like 3 or 4 that I use for oil painting. These ones are mainly for bigger pieces with acrylic. And then here, these are my favourite brushes. These are the ones that I use for watercolour, because watercolour is just, it's the medium I prefer to use. So there's a few pencils. Wash that one properly. I hate it when I do that. These ones, believe it or not, even though they're used for sculpture, they're fantastic for smudging on portraiture. Like the little areas next to the eyes where you can't normally get with your fingers because they're just too big. Things like this, they're fantastic for getting in the corners of the eyes for portraits. So this is the last thing I'm going to show you, and this is my box of pastels, pencil pastels. These, I love them for portraits. I use these all the time because they have pretty much every single skin tone you could need. What I really hate about the box pastels is that they don't really tend to cater for any skin colour. You know, they have these unrealistic colours for people who are white, and then they never have the right shades for brown or black skins, so it's really annoying. And the reason I like this set so much is because even if they don't have the exact shade, they have colours that I can use to mix and eventually get the right shade. I hope you like that, and yeah.